All right, I'm going to be breaking down every offensive play from the game. And we're starting with play one. And I look at it right off the line of scrimmage. We're running our zone left out of a Louis call right here. We're on the left side, so we'll end up still stepping to the left off the mesh point. But what they've had, and something they probably practiced on defensively all week long, is to fire the outside linebacker oppo to where the running back is so that he can chase it down from the backside. And he is the one who makes the play right here. Up front, we look pretty good. I don't like Ernest Green chasing the guy running the X stunt right there off of this because it's a run play. You know, you're stepping left. Don't chase that guy who's running the X inside. He's going to take himself out of the play. And he almost does make a good play on this because of how long it takes to develop through the mesh point to put your foot in the ground to change direction for zone. But as far as up front, Truss, Ratledge, Jared, Dylan Fairchild fighting his butt off. To me, Ernest Green just needs to stay on his track. But we still have a good play here, guys. If we don't get this guy chasing us from behind right here, ETN has got an unbelievable run right here on his first play from scrimmage. As long as Dylan Bell can get in the way, he can use him as a shield too, because Ernest Green's climbing right now. You just chase right behind him. But if he doesn't get chased down behind by number 11, who is an absolute banshee all night long, I don't know why we don't have an RPO that we could run off of this, especially with that backside that we're looking at. I mean, look at London Humphreys off of this. This guy's going, there's no respect for Humphreys. Humphreys has got nobody behind him right there. And I'm not saying on the first play you're reading this, but, you know, somebody up in the box has got to be telling these guys, hey, they're playing a very soft cover 3 look right here, or cover 1, I guess, maybe. I think it's 3, even though that corner's only about 5 yards off Humphreys. The other one's about 6 yards off Bell with a free safety in the middle. But they're basically playing a 4-4 concept right here. You got 3 down linemen, 2 outside linebackers, 2 inside linebackers, even though they really base out of the 3-4. And even though Ernest Green chases the X and then decides to climb at the last minute, we've got a play there, and the backside outside linebacker chases it down from behind. We've got to play one step away. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is what you want right here with the split zone action, backside A cut. I mean, this is beautiful, drawn up to perfection. If Truss does a very poor job of looking very unathletic right here, if he's just able to keep his feet and climb to the guy that Ratledge is on and actually get off of that shoulder and bounce to that free safety, again, we have another play that ETN has an unbelievable amount of space to run, because this is what you want out of split action. When the backside end runs too far upfield, it creates a natural backside A cut, guys. This is what zone does when you run it right. So, you know, all these people want to gripe and complain that we didn't block it very well. It's not the case. It's not the case in this situation. We have one guy screwing up in Truss who looks very, very unathletic as he's trying to climb to the second level. But if he can quit looking back at the running back and turn around and actually block somebody, we actually have a bigger play than what we have right here. In Trevor Etienne, one of his better runs of the night, where you got a backside zone cut off the split zone and has a better run if we got a tackle. This is a very unique design. We're in cover 4 across the board up top. They've shifted the line up front to where basically you have a 4-3 with like the Sam walked up over the top of the X receiver right here. But this is a play that we run a lot with our F back and our H back out of this, where we'll run flare, and then you've got something from 11, the backside tight end, and Delp's going to run a little option route, little MOB, and I don't think there's a MOR right here by, yeah, Aaron's just running a runoff. He's not even looked at right here. And really, this is just a one-man game outside. Honestly, he could go to either the choice route underneath the Delp, which he could have thrown to, but he seemed to want to go outside of Dylan Bell right here. And they're just not on the same page. He's throwing it to a spot that he thinks Dylan Bell's going to be at, and Dylan's not there. Up front, we look pretty good on our pass pro, other than Xavier Truss looking really poor. I'm telling you what, guys, this is a guy that should be on a short leash and honestly should be sitting on the bench. I hate to say it, but it's just getting to the point where I'm tired of watching this bullshit right here. This is absolutely driving me nuts. All right, he's going to get, I don't know how much film I'm sure is watched by him, but this right here is just getting old, watching him do this right here. But anyhow, long story short, get on the same page, Beck, with Dylan Bell, and we have ourselves a completion out on 1st and 10, and that second very short. All right, we got trips left tight, so I just call this lucky tight. We're going to get rip motion and get across to Deuce's right, so all you got left on the backside is just your tight end and a receiver. 2 receiver game on the right-hand side are running an in-out So you got one coming on the inside, one coming on the outside. So it's kind of like a crisscross. F-back's coming across, which is a very tough block to make, especially when you've got somebody firing off the backside. I think ETN does a pretty good job of stepping up, but Carson also sees this too. This is not what's on the script when they run this in practice as a guy firing off the edge. They just think you've got, Carson thinks he's got time to throw here, and this is just a play where the defense brought something to what we were running right here. There's nothing wrong with what happened. Front actually blocks it pretty well. Truss doesn't fall down like an unathletic newborn baby giraffe. And Carson gets out of the pocket and scrambles for some yardage right here. But you can see that they're running a cover 4 match. They're coming across. You can watch the free safety, or excuse me, depending on which safety you got there, the safety's bounce. But you'll watch he's working on the inside, and then the upside safety is working what's on outside. So they got it bracketed with a triangle over the top. See that? Safety over the top of everything. You got guy working on the inside bracket, guy working on the outside bracket. The only thing that would be beneficial out of this is if you flooded it with another receiver, but that's, hindsight's 20/20 watching this. So, it's something that they had a good defense to, bringing pressure to that side, making Carson have to flush a little bit quicker than he wanted to, and now you've got him just scrambling for his life just to get some extra yards here. So this is just a good defensive play called against our offensive play right here in this case scenario, but it's blocked pretty well up front. ETN gets in the way. Carson's got to scramble to get some yards. But basically, you're going to run a 3-receiver game, which is what you need to do in zone against their zone concepts where you flood each zone. So Delp's got the corner route, and then Arian is going to have the intermediate out, and then you're going to have ETN on a quick out right here. But they do a great job of setting it up. You've got somebody deep, you got somebody middle hook curl, and you got somebody for the flat. They've also brought the backside backer across, which I think he's too far to the right here, which should open up the backside on this if Carson had time to throw. But Ernest Green, the third here, is not doing a great job on that left end right there. It's just poor technique. He takes his slide and his kick slide, but that guy makes an inside move on him. It's not Dylan Fairchild's fault right there. He's got to take what's coming to his gap because the center's working to the. I think it looks like that they've identified the mic to the right here, so that's why you got Jared Wilson looking right. So that means everybody to the left will be taken care of by 53 and 71, and Ernest Green just lets his guy go through. So here you've got one guy breaking down on the pass pro that screws up any ability for us to make any kind of progression throws right here, any kind of in-phase throws. Now Beck's running for his life because Ernest Green's out of the pocket now, and now he has no good throw to make, and that's really not a great throw, honestly. All right. All right, I'm going to talk about 2 concepts in this actual play. First off is just the play side zone and how it's blocked. First off, Ben Yurosek out here on this play does not do a good job of taking on his defender. He gets basically manhandled. He gets, just because he's just not used to this, guys. And, I don't know what they do to continue to try to get him acclimated to our offense, but this is something that he's going to have to get better at if he even needs to see the field at all. Lawson Lucky and Oscar Delp need to be your primary 2 out there doing this, but everything else is blocked pretty decent. Dylan Fairchild's letting his guy get across his face. Ratledge and Truss are posting and climbing to the play side backer. We've got a pretty good little mesh point right here, and you can see if Ben's got his guy blocked out, there's the hole right there with one defender in the hole. There's really no backside cut. Now, reason why I'm talking about the backside cut last is this is traditional day zone. When zone first was created, it was typically created for a run option for your quarterback, the person who's handing the ball off, and they don't respect Carson to run the ball at all right here. So this is old school zone, was quarterback reads in, if the end squeezes to go tackle the back, which means he's not running towards the quarterbacks via the chest. You can see right now he's down the line of scrimmage off that. That would be an automatic pull by your quarterback, and look what he's got if he pulls right here, guys. Now, I'm not saying he's going to outrun anybody, but by God, he's going to get a lot better yardage than what he does giving it to ETN right here. So this is the old school zone where if Carson does his job and actually reads this is something Stetson did quite a few times as well, pulling off the zone read right here. This is old-fashioned OG zone where the quarterback should have pulled off of this because of the read by the end. That's why Ernest Green is climbing to that backer. He's not supposed to step and take care of that end. You're reading that backside end right here. So again, Carson pulls this. He's got probably 10 yards compared to ETN's loss of yardage due to Ben Yurosek's bad block right here. Pull, Carson. I'm really not even going to try to break this down. It's hard to see everything, but basically we're running a rocket, not a rocket, but a fast screen left, so this would just be Leopard out of Twins. But off this zone action, you know, what we've got here is there's a lot of people coming at him off the backside to this. This would be like if they were chasing him on zone, they would have tackled him again going away from the zone. But this again is Ben Yurosek. If you see right here, he's missed his guy. If he's got his guy blocked right here, we have a play with Dominic. We're trying to get the ball in Six's hands, and Yurosek has screwed up the run play and now has screwed up the screen play out here as well. You can tell he's pissed. But, you know what piss does? Sometimes you just have to come over on the bench and do that, because that's where it needs to be happening, is at the end of the bench where you take a piss. But again, just to screw up by Ben Yurosek on his block out wide, Dominic gets tackled in the backfield. Carson had two things happen to him on Saturday night. One of them was his fault. One of them was Jared's fault. Jared with a low snap right here, and he's not ready for it. But, Carson got to be more athletic. He's not always going to get the ball right in his heart. He's got to be able to be athletic and go down and get that. But, of course, he fumbles the snap, and then that just screws up the timing of everything you've got here. But, if you look at what I do, when you have a situation that's broken like this, I still look at what the front does, no matter if he fumbles the snap or not. And guess who screws the pooch on this one right here as well? Look at Ernest Green catching this end that's coming off the edge and not doing a good job of holding him up. Dylan Fairchild being knocked back as well. I mean, you got Jared Wilson, Dylan Fairchild, and Ernest Green to block these two, and they can't block them. I don't understand why that disruption causes so many issues. I think, Ratledge and Truss on the other side do a good job of taking on this TNT right here, coming off it. That looks really good. But, when you got three blocking two and they can't handle those two, there's something wrong with that. It doesn't matter if you screw up the snap or not. But we just turned basically a bad play into a disaster. We look like the Bad News Bears right here. To tell you the truth, I'd rather start handing the ball out of this formation than actually doing it out of gun, because it gets your running back going downhill instead of running out of 45. We put Dylan Bell in motion to fake basically the jet, and now we're nubbed on this side. There's nobody there except a corner and an outside linebacker to take this on. Up front, honestly, our steps are really good. Play side, I think Monroe Freeling's read in the right direction. Tate Ratledge and Jared are doing a good job of posting. Gallup stepping up and climbing to the next level on this right here. But again, here's Ernest Green not getting across the face of that inside B-gap guy. And he's in A-gap to start with, but he steps out into B-gap, and Ernest Green's got to get his head across that. Now he's blocking him in the back, this is considered legal blocking in the back. It should not be a flag unless he's holding him right there. But you can see, obviously, if he gets his head across the blue hat's face, it doesn't look as bad right here. But Trevor does a good job of setting up inside. This is straight zone action. I like Delp right here getting after it too. That's where you try to work your head across the face of someone. This is what I would tell Delp for purposes of this, is as you're blocking him, just try to work on getting the hat to the other side. Ernest Green can't do that. Everybody else play side looks really good right here. And this is just a good zone concept off of jet action. And he hands it off right here, and we get about 5 or 6 positive yards. Not too bad. All right, Kentucky out of this Lucy call, which is trips left. They're going to bring rip motion across, so you're going to end up having deuces to the right. You got 2 to the left now, 2 from the tight end position. You're going to get a double dig action with Lovett and with Delp. Now, the front's doing a really good job of the play action. This is one of those 4-second windows you love to see. On the play side over here, I see a corner route. They must be running some kind of smash concept over there. Yep. I don't understand why the thought process wasn't to throw to him a little bit earlier. But the play this is another thing where if Beck wants to move to the next level, if we're talking, Heisman Trophy, which right now I think that his game in this game alone is probably going to, I don't care what he does from here on out, he was going to have at least a stellar game in every ball game he played, because he's got to be able to anticipate this cut. Right now what he should be doing is throwing it. He's already panicked for some odd reason. Ernest Green giving a little bit of ground, but he's still holding, is to be able to see down the field and throw the ball right now right over the top of the umpire's head. All right, to throw the ball right there almost where the U is on the emblem, to get it to Oscar Delp coming across on this double dig. Because when you run stratted, what I call a strata layer, where you run two routes that are in progression right behind one another, you can see the double dig. He's got to throw it right now. He's got to let go of it right now and try to get that to Oscar Delp before the safety gets to him. But everything else is covered up. You got a smash concept down here on the bottom, which is typically a slot fade with a hitch route, or they run a corner route with a hitch route. And in this case, the guy coming across Arian is the safety valve off of this. So basically, they threw it to the check down right here off of this, which is Arian Smith going to the right. They're in a cover 4 match. Got everything they want. Arian gets the ball last on the check down and still gets about 7 or 8 yards out of this, so I'll take it. All right, I think this is one of 2 times we run gap scheme, but this is the same play from the first play of the game, where they are basically bringing the outside linebacker out of this formation right here off the edge. So this is the same play that they made on ETN a while ago, where he chased him down from the backside, but now they're running gap scheme away from this, which is even worse. They've got a very good defensive play called to this, because it's just like with anything else. Instead of him coming from the backside and chasing it down, he should be obviously coming from he's coming from the play side now, off of where the gap's coming to. So Trevor does a really good job of putting his foot in the ground and making that guy miss. Now the gap scheme's screwed, because everybody, you see that big pile of ass over there is nothing but blocking the gap scheme, and Trevor screwed up. Now he's running for his life, because this guy has caused a whole problem to this. But what I'm looking at up front, this is what you do when you break down plays. Doesn't matter what happens on the backside, watch the front and see if they still block the gap scheme correctly. So what you want right here is you should have Delp, Monroe Freeling blocking down on the 3 technique up to the middle backer, the one sitting on the hash. Ratledge should be working up to that backer as well. And then you've got Jared Wilson blocking back on the shade. Micah should be pulling the kick out 13. And Truss is going to just stay on the backside and hook hinge his guy so that he doesn't chase it from behind. Now you've got Lucky coming down inside off the motion to be the extra back right here for Trey. I call this ghost power, because you're bringing the guard and the H back to run the power concept. So you've got the kick out, and you've got Lawson Lucky fitting up in there really well. I kind of like what I see right here. Guy splits across his shade, so Jared's got to take him. I'm really Ernest Green letting his guy get across his face. I mean, they're just firing across, guys. And I don't know if they had some kind of stunt on, because if you have some kind of fire stunt, like which is a run blitz, where you're running, basically you're firing across a double gap to get to the zone back because he's on the left side. But I only see that from your guy over the top of Ernest Green and the guy over the top of Jared Wilson. You don't see that play side. So it's almost like they're saying the 2 guys that are to the back side of the zone fire across your gap to interfere with their down block on this phase. Now, in this case scenario, the outside linebacker coming is the one that causes the major problem. Ernest Green doesn't do a good job on the backside ceiling. Play side, everything looks pretty good with a double team in the post. Micah gets the kick out. Lawson Lucky gets up inside. And, of course, we got the break up from the backside. So Trevor Etienne's running for his life, because they caught a good blitz into the gap scheme right here. But when I broke this play down against South Carolina, this is the play that I wanted to see us run in their cover 4 match, where we hit the number 2 receiver right over the zone, the hook curl defender, and in between the safety. If Carson has any time to throw right here, they're bringing 6-man pressure. We got a Louis call, because I can see Jared Wilson working to the left. So Jared Wilson, Michael Morris, and Ernest Green have those 3. And then you got Delp helping on the chip right there to run his. He's the last guy out, so he helps the edge. Give him a little shoulder bump right there before he runs his quick out. Etienne and Tate and Monroe have this side, and it's basically where one is responsible for that backer and A gap. That's the reason why you see Tate step out to take his 3 technique and Monroe step out to take that wide 9. And one's got to step up in there and take care of the running back. I would like to see him square up on him a little bit more, see how he's trying to get through that gap. You got to move with him, one, and be able to get more down in there. He does knock him off his track, but that still creates pressure. But, Monroe Freeland is the one who messes up right here. I'm surprised they didn't call him for a hold right here, because this guy's got him beat on the edge rush, and it's all about his kick slide's very slow. I don't know why he's sitting there trying to help Tate when he knows he's got this wide 9 coming, that he should be getting back there, getting more depth on his kick slide, and that way he doesn't have to do that right there. And so I'm sure Coach Searles will get him on that. Hopefully he should anyway. But, Trevor does a good enough job knocking him out of his way, but I would love to see him stay on the block instead of taking care of Jared's guy next. He gets pinballed in there. But just think, if Carson has time to throw right here, watch this throw for Arian right now. If he has time to throw that football, he's going to thread that needle right between the hole defender and before the safety gets to him, and you've got to play. You could even go with depth, because you telling me that safety is going to be able to get over the top of Arian right there? I don't understand why we don't throw that ball up vertically right there and just let him run underneath that. I don't think that free safety can get to him. He's lateral to him right now. Aaron's one of the fastest guys, if not the fastest guy on the team. He should be able to throw that to him right there. But again, broken down covers, because they bring 6 people. We have 6 people to block, but our F-back doesn't do a great job, and our right tackle doesn't do a good job. We still get a complete pass, though. I'm finally figuring out, I was thinking Jared might have been causing a lot of the problems from up front with the guy head up over him, but they were doing a lot of stuff play side to the zone back with running a lot of fire run blitzes into it, like they were crossing double gaps. Here they run a TNT stunt, which screws up zone blocking very hard, because you'll end up getting linemen that will chase. Ernest Green did this, it seems, a lot after watching his play here. But you'll notice that the guy that's lined up as the 4-eye, that's right on the inside eye of Ernest Green, is going to run a little TNT stunt here, while your other, shade is going to try to push across 2 gaps. So you end up making him occupy Jared Wilson and Micah Morris now. And you've got Ernest Green wanting to chase, and then he waits too late to get up to climb to the backer. But you still have a backer that's unblocked right here. And this is part of zone sometimes when you have a guy that scrapes correctly. And because of the way everything's set up, it kind of interferes with what, Micah Morris wants to do to be able to climb and take care of that because of the twist stunt. But they end up taking care of the twist stunt pretty well off this. But still, just another play where Branson Robinson, he's trying to find that hole, and then he becomes a tiptoer because he's having to wait on Ernest Green to make this block. Ernest has got to see that quicker and get off of that and get up to that guy, and he doesn't, and that's what makes Branson have to cut, and then he's pitter-patting again. And then they just do a good job of coming off that. So you have a guy that, Ernest Green should be blocking, and then you only have truly that one backer who is on Branson Robinson right there instead of 2. We got a tight end with an H-back, which means we have only 2 receivers out wide. I would assume we probably got a deuces left loosey call because our pro set's to the right side with a tight end down. And we run zone right out of this. And I want to tell you, everybody takes the proper steps, technique, and everybody. I want you to see if all of these people, there's one that's not like the other. See if you got the one person you can tell that's not stepping correctly. That's it. It's 73, Xavier Truss. Why you don't step and climb to that backer right now. That's the whole purpose of zone, is to step and climb. If somebody crosses your face, you take them. So if he steps right here, he realizes Ratledge that there's that little TNT stunt they're trying to screw with Jared and Jared Wilson and Tate Ratledge with. All right, but still everything gets clogged up because Dylan Fairchild does a great job of getting his head across the face and clogging up that hole. And here we got Green doing a great job. See the difference of him getting across the face of that guy that's trying to really stunt hard across? That's the difference in that play versus the one you saw earlier. But because Truss doesn't step correctly and it ends up putting him on a bad angle to the play side linebacker that he should be climbing, he's the guy that's in the hole to stop the zone play right here. So again, you got a great play call design. There's nothing wrong with this, but Xavier Truss screws it up. Doesn't block the guy, and that puts somebody, making the tackle there in the hole. Okay, you've got a one receiver route on the right-hand side that they're wanting to run basically a pack and go to right here. So he's going to run the 5-yard. Looks like he's going to sit down the hitch, and then he's going to go. And of course, you got these guys in zone. We're in a basically it looks like a cover 4 again off of this. And the reason why I say that I think we're in cover 4, it could be cover 3. I don't really know based off the depth here. That other safety looks high enough to be in a cover 4 because I'm sure there's somebody out wide because we should have 3 receivers to the left here. But we're going to run that flame action we have right here by the H-back and depth and the F-back. So that's going to pull, which should set up the option underneath it, which Dominic Lovett's wide open. But I don't know why we would do this out of the quick game when we got possibly a setup on the hitch and go. So Carson should already read this based off where he's at. And I think he's reading it to go there because look at that corner creeping. That corner's creeping, but right before the ball is snapped, he starts to bail. And I think he was reading pre-snap Green right here on this, thinking he could get him over the top, and that's why he looked at him too long. He looks at him and realizes now he's bailing, so I can't go there, so now I got to turn back the other way and look and see what I've got as my option, and your only option really is Dominic Lovett right here on the edge. Man, Green's making this way too difficult, but the one thing I like about it right here, even though he holds him going across, I can't believe they didn't call that either, is he stays with his block at least. He at least makes him run the hump a little bit wider, so it allows a throw from Carson to his option route out of this right here. But this is all set up by 1 and 4, running the flame out of this to the left-hand side and drawing that outside linebacker pressure so the option can set up underneath it. You got to go to it. This is the play where they thought that they had the interception pick 6 off Dom's fumble to the ground. That was basically an incomplete pass once the ball touched the ground. There was nothing past that. Should have been dead. But I look at the front to see how they block. It looks like to me they're in a cover 4 match right here, but you do have a free safety that's over the top of this. So I would say they're running basically match to the sticks because it's 3rd and 7 right here. They do a really good job of setting it up and basically taking every player that's at the sticks right here. So you got top left cornerback on the number 1. You got the safety on number 2. You got the free safety sitting over anything vertical. And then on the backside, you've got the inside safety or nickel going to the low cut. And then the cornerback has the high cut out of that. And you can double team off of that. So realistically, the throw is there. But I still don't understand that in your gut, that you've got to get 7 yards. If you are the cutoff guy to throw to right here because you're in grass, and this is a long throw from the left hash to a stop route up top, why not widen yourself to run more outside instead of an inside cut right here and get to the sticks and catch this football? Because this is a long throw, but again, I don't understand why it's just a straight ahead hitch. Why are we not getting to at least 7 yards to catch the football? Because even if you get to that 7 yards and he tackles you immediately, it's a first down. Because right there, even if you do catch that ball, let's say you make a miraculous catch right there, you're still short of the first down marker, all right? And I'm not sure, based off where I was at, I think watching it from the wide copy that I thought it was short. But then, just like I said, after that, it just become a circus act right there. But, I'm looking up front and seeing what our pass pro does in this case scenario. I got Jared Wilson blocking to the left, so they've made a Louis call for their Mike call. So that means you got Michael Morris and Truss taking on the next two. And we look like we've got this is a mix-up because we got the front blocking Louis, and Frazier needs to come across the formation. This is Beck's fault for not getting getting ETN to the other side to take care of the three on the other side. Now, ETN thinks he's got somebody on the left side. He's trying to help with that, and he should be actually helping Michael Morris and Xavier Truss on the right-hand side right here. So this is a pass pro screw-up up front as well, and that's the reason why you got somebody running free right in his face as he's trying to make that throw. But still just a circus after it was incomplete, and it should have been an incomplete pass. They ruled it right. This is a way that you can screw up zone, and this was Kentucky's way to beat our zone, and that was to run TNT stunts with a fire coming from the play side backer that you're looking for right here. I want you to watch the players over the top of Jared Wilson and player over top of Ernest Green III. Watch them run the TNT stunt right here, which puts people in gaps and keeps people exposed, so it really does hurt your backside. Your play side. But see, what I'm going to tell you is on the backside, they're still running it normal. So on the backside, it still should create a natural backside A cut. Y'all see that right there? We do just enough where Delp gets in the way of that guy coming off the backside edge. This is what Frazier scored on against Clemson down inside the 5-yard line, was because of this very reason right here of our backside tight end or H staying on that guy that's flying off the edge that's going to chase right there. I don't know why we didn't run more zone with H and H and Y backside to the zone, because that would have slowed down that edge rusher coming off the side trying to chase it down or being in the way if we were to be running this back to the right-hand side off the mesh. But even though the TNT stunt to the play side is screwing up our blocking schemes, and I think really is what caused a lot of frustration from us against the zone. You got laser action right here, rocket action right here with the zone, but ETN has got to see, his vision has got to see that backside A cut. So, I'm not really, it's still up front. It's tough to block a TNT stunt when you got zone concepts. That's what screws up zone concepts. But in this case, one's got to see that backside A cut on this, and he doesn't. This is the play that gets tipped to Dominic Lovett, and it could have been a bad situation because Dominic Lovett drifted, and Carson Beck thinking he was going to try to throw it over top of his head ends up getting it deflected into his hand. So we were lucky on this play again. But after I cussed Truss on the run play, this is where when he doesn't have help, that he steps back down inside and delivers a kill shot with Tate right there. But that's where you get people hurt, because Jared Wilson gets rolled up on right here, and I'm surprised he didn't get hurt. And, you can't really blame Truss for this. That's a kill shot for him to have right there off that double team. But, hell, they should be doing that. They got 5 guys blocking 3. They're only bringing 3-man pressure. There's 8 guys in defense right here, and we're running all stops is what we've got out of this. So we've got an option with ETN on basically an arrow route. Everybody else is on a sit down at 5 yards because it's 3rd and 2 right here. Guess what? When you drop 8 people to guard 4 people, it's typically pretty good. And as you see across the board, I've got all 4 receivers here on the screen. And you got to think about it. Where does he want to go with the ball? He's looking play side to this off the F-backs rotation. Doesn't want to throw it there because they want to react up to it. So now the only 2 people you got are Kobe Young and Dominic Lovett. Now Dominic Lovett's got to get in that window a little bit better, but don't go vertical right here. Just sit down and let him see you and throw the route. But he takes off vertical, and right about that time Carson has to change his trajectory of his throw. Free safety gets in the way, but Dominic does a good job of keeping his eyes on it and taking care of business. But we should 5 blocking 3, dropping 8-man in coverage, and we're lucking up right here off this throw. All right, this is our jailbreak screen left off zone. You got Jared Wilson and Green going out. We're basically showing our counter boot action off of this. So it looks like power what we're running up front to kind of hold inside linebackers. But the outside edge guy over the top of Green, after he slips him, reads it and goes out, Delp has missed his block, and that's what screws the whole thing up. Green comes back and peels to take care of 13, who's going to it, but we really don't have a play because Delp misses his block. We didn't block very well on the perimeter or on any of our fast screens or our jailbreak screens right here, but other than that, that's what really screws the pooch on that. All right, we're going to bring our H-back down inside, and here we got a tight end with an H-back running zone left, which was something that I think made it a lot better to run zone in instead of running it just out of our 5-man offensive line concept, because now we got an extra blocker to take care of any edge coming off the backside to this for pursuit. Plus, you're running split zone action out of this, so we're basically blocking the backside as well. Lucky has no one to go to because they've overloaded now to the other side, even though we're bringing him back down inside. My thing is right here is that this is a no-brainer to stay play side. You'll notice there's really no backside A cut. Trevor Etienne's hitting that hole really hard, and he's going to have to continue to bounce, which is good by your outside perimeter guys making him bounce so that you can get pursuit from the inside from the safety to make the play. I think they're trying to hold their blocks pretty well outside, but again, Kentucky just does a great job of pursuit and getting to the football right there and making a play. I know this is easy to see now. Hindsight's 20/20 when you're looking at this, but I don't understand why there's not, the analysts and the people talking to Coach Bobo, who I know is wanting to run something specifically, but I used to always like running to the hash to the short side of the field here with my F back and my receiver, especially when you got Colby Young to run, because they're dropping 8 here. All right, we need the first down. It's 3rd and 3. So you basically get, I call this zebra up top, is a call that I have where you have 2 inside guys run the 5-yard hitch, and then you've got a corner or a slot fade by your inside receiver, which they've got that covered. They've got it bracketed perfectly because they know they're wanting to get to the sticks. That's what you do, is you play a defense where you're underneath layer. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 guys sitting at the sticks with 2 over the top of that deep. Actually, 3 over the top of that deep, working to bracket everything. So what I always used to do, what gets left out in the wash here, is your F-back. And then you can see here, your linebacker to the F-back side is just kind of sitting in space. But you got Colby coming across on a little bit of a small dig. I would, instead of just running the quick out right there, if you're looking to throw backside, you throw it to Branson now. Now he has the chance to get upfield for that 3 yards on a play on a backer who's, right now roughly 20 yards off of him. Now, if he rails off of this, which is the wheel route, that's probably covered up. But, throw the ball to your F-back right now and let him try to be creative in space against one guy who's 20 yards off of him right now. But, again, I don't understand the pre-snap why you don't see numbers to your left side with 2 receivers, because you know that you've got the safeties negligent in this situation. You got your corner on Colby, you're not worried about it, and you got the play side backer over here. I see too many people over the top of your 3 receivers, and I'm thinking I'm going to go 2 receiver game right here to the short side of the field, but he doesn't do that. He's predetermined. He's going to throw it to Delp, and it's bracketed. I don't know if he has somebody in his mic telling him we're going to be looking for the little quick flat route defender out of this. This is just a split zone play action concept right here. And Delp should go over the top of that defender to bubble him a little bit, but he holds him, and that causes Carson's dilemma here because he wants to go to Delp immediately, and he's open, really, the way they're chasing everybody else. You got 3 chasing 2. But, if that defender's not there, why not put your foot in the ground and sit there and watch just Dylan Bell for just an extra second? Now you're throwing to him just because, the defender actually did you a favor by now making you readjust your eyes somewhere else. And realistically, Dylan Bell's the hit, but this is just a very poor throw right here by you, my guy. You need to be able to make that throw, especially when you're out of phase now of what you're wanting to do. Being in phase is going to Delp automatically off this throw because that you take what they give. But when you come off of this and realize that Dylan Bell's open, you got to step up and make that throw and complete that pass right there. But again, the guy holding up our that tight end coming across was actually a favor for us because it made Carson actually have to put his foot in the ground, change out of phase, and start to look at what he had off of that, and then should have made the pass complete to Dylan Bell, but threw it way too far to the left. All right, this is probably Carson Beck's best anticipated throw right here because you're throwing right in the hole off of the zone defender, right over the top of him and between the safety that's trying to pull right here. So I think, again, they're running match to this, and which is a cover 4 match concept. You got linebackers that push in to work anything that's coming inside, But right here, this is the freshman Nate Frazier, and this is what you're going to get from a freshman in pass pro. You know, Ernest Green doesn't do him any favors by coming off of that guy. He should have stayed where the edge rush was coming from, but he doesn't know that Nate's there. But that's trust in your Louis call. I mean, excuse me, got a Roger call, so they're working Louis' side. Is that they've got to take the first two that show, and the first two that show are the guy that's working wide on him and the guy that's working over the top of Fairchild right now. So Nate Frazier does have the guy in the middle, but by Ernest Green coming off and taking him two and Nate getting run over slowly, which is what happens, you get your quarterback killed on this play. So, you know, this is a pass pro screw up that could have caused, you know, a quarterback hurry. A lot more trouble than what it was. Nate, at least getting run over slow is better than not blocking him at all, honestly, to tell you the truth. I know a lot of people say, man, he got destroyed right there. Like, okay, so he got destroyed right there, but he got in the way. I'll take that all day long. Then what happened with Ernest Green, who come down and double-teamed with him and let that guy run free and hit your quarterback in the freaking ear hole. So good throw in anticipation to Dominic Lovett over the top of the zone. This is the same thing where they're running a cover 4 match, and they've got play side backers pushing to the boundary. And on the backside, they're matching up and got each guy in man with a safety over the top. So this is just a cover 4 match. You can see the safety over the top play side to the short side of the field running with a vertical. We got the wheel route being caught by the intermediate. And then you got your linebackers pushing to the boundary. And what that other backer should be doing that's closest to the hash should be turning back around like he did last. Yep, there it is. Remember we talked about when you run strata plays where you have 2 double digs coming, like in this case scenario. And I told him about throwing the backside right over the top of the referee's head. What do you know? He makes a throw like this right here and blows me away. This is the Carson Beck that we think we got. And when you have time to throw and you've only got a 4-man rush, they're dropping 7 into coverage right here. They do a great job of pickup. Hey, look, pass pro looks really good. Jared Wilson staying on his block, driving his guy out. And there's not anybody near Carson Beck on this play. He has time to survey the field and come back. And there's that throw that I talked to you about right there. And he makes this kind of, I mean, and that defender's in great position right there, guys. He throws that in a mailbox. Absolutely a seed on the backside right here to Dylan Bell, just like we talked about. If this play right here looks familiar, it's because it is. It's the split zone action, play action, where the defensive end held depth the first time, and they knew on being first down and 10, this is just an easy pitch and catch. He wanted to throw to 4 last time. Now he gets the throw. It's going to be just an easy pitch and catch to 4 here to get about 5 or 6 yards. But again, split zone play action, the defensive end doesn't hold Delp this time. It keeps everything in phase and allows Beck to make the throw to Delp right here. So, you know, good 1st and 10 play call right here where you got zone action going away, boot out of it, throw you quick throw, give them, take what you can get from them. All right, we got true counter Trey right here to the tight end side. This is perfectly should be blocked by your tackle and Delp, the tight end, to basically take care of the 4-eye up to the play side backer. But because Truss doesn't step on him in post, you should be double teaming him and then climb to that play side backer 73. 56, Michael Morris, you've got your guy gapped up. You're good. Jared, you're blocking back. We got the guard kicking out, and Ernest Green is wrapping. Very few times do we run it this way, but Dylan Fairchild's going to flathead the end. Boom, right there. I love that. Ba-pow! There's no squeezing that flathead right there. And now you've got Green that should be turning up into the play side backer right here. So, you know, Truss, I don't understand this right here as you take that guy on. I know we've got somebody to come up inside of this, but your double team with Delp is important right here, because if you don't double team him out of there, Delp one-on-one screws this whole thing up, because now Green's got to block Delp's character, and Green should be climbing to that play side backer who's now making the play on ETN. Okay, and we're running this to the nub side, which is perfectly fine because the corner should be the one making this tackle if it's blocked correctly. But again, with Delp being left one-on-one, because Truss, you left your post, you should have based him, and as he stepped out, then climbed. Honestly, because of the way leveraged by Michael Morris on his guy right here. But you end up double teaming and doing absolutely nothing right here on this play. You're not responsible for that backer, but you should be at least trying to help Delp to move that play side guy so that there's more of a crease point there, and then making Ernest Green have to block your guy, and now the guy that he's supposed to go to is free on this play. So watching it in full speed right here. Just one play screws the whole thing. Guys, I don't understand why we didn't run this more. We bring across a Liz motion, and we're just going to run the backside shoulder fade with a flare bail out if he doesn't like what he wants right here. You got an option route being set up by Delp across the middle. This is called an MOB route right here to hold the play side, the middle of the field. And guys, again, this throw, this throw is undefendable if it's thrown in the right spot, and it was. Again, Kobe Young and Carson Beck really have an isolated one-on-one game right here with this, and honestly why we don't run this more. I don't really like progressions that just isolate one receiver. I like for the plays to mold and just go to the receiver that's open. But if this is a one-on-one isolated play to Kobe Young, we could run this 5 or 6 times a game and I would not be unhappy, because this is illegal almost. This to me is a unique way they hand the ball off. It's not really a zone handoff, but yet up front I don't see anything that would make me think that this is going to be nothing but a zone type play, because everybody's stepping to the right. You got the double team. Jared's coming off the post to take care of the fire through on the backer. Green's firing up to the play side backer. And maybe this is something they're trying to do to change up their zone concept so they don't get the fire off the edges to chase, because of the way that the back is stepping instead of it just coming across to get zone. But I've noticed here, you notice they've got a tight end and an H-back to the back side of this to not be able to chase it down. But again, this is a pretty decent play right here. I'm looking to see where all the steps are at. But, I see Micah and Trust stepping out. Jared Wilson's doubling, then taking care of the post, off the post with the fire through. And Dylan Fairchild's got to stay on his block. He lets his guy off of him at the last second. Delp again blocking his butt off, but also lets his guy off. So, that's the difference right there of having a bigger hole than what he has. But still, a positive run play down inside where you've got a crease and you got to find it with Nate Frazier running the ball. As I sit here and watch what Kentucky did to us defensively, they know that Carson Beck is a good middle-of-the-field pocket passer, and they basically took that away from him. This was something they did in a lot of situations on 3rd and long, is they bracketed the inside guys with your extra linebackers that are in the middle of the field, as well as with the safeties. So the safeties are creeping. You see right here, we have the same situation that we had earlier in the game, where everybody's covered up, but the inside zone players are working with their head to the inside to take any kind of crossers. Notice, see how you've got here, you've got your hole defender, middle hook curl defender, but you've also got that safety who's watching. He's basically robbing the inside cut by Delp right here. He's not allowing that to be thrown. And the other safety's working over the top of number 2. He runs right into a bracket that's being basically run right at him in Humphreys to see how it's covered up. The backside is covered up. Dominic Lovett on the sort of, it looks like he's running a wheel route off of this. You got it covered up too. And Kobe Young is taking on the backside as well with all the cuts. But what I don't understand right here is we've got it blocked pretty well up front until Ernest Green starts allowing the little X stunt right here to mess him up, to cause pressure. But Carson Beck is already moving now. Why are you moving now, Carson? There's no reason for you to be panicking right now. You should be able to come down off of this. If you stay where you're at instead of rolling to your left, if you stay right there, Trevor Etienne's going to come open coming across to your right and is going to outrun that defender and possibly get a lot more yardage than what we anticipate right here by this very errant throw, because you move this way and then try to throw it to him versus staying in the pocket. Like right now, there's no reason for you to be moving left at all. Okay, your footwork should keep you up in the pocket right now and actually away from where Ernest Green is doing his little X-stunt issue right here where he's not staying on his block. But still, bottom line is, you panicking actually cost you your throw mechanics to make a better throw to ETN right there. And that's something that I want to see better of in this situation. And granted, I know you've had some situations where you've been in a little bit of trouble. And so I know you might be panicking a little bit, but there's no reason for you to panic on this situation right here. Stay in the pocket. You have a better throw and catch with your running back off his check down. Okay, we're going to get rocket action. We're going to get the backside Y and the H to stay on line of scrimmage so they can't backside pursue off this. Plus, it widens them. So here's something they have done to adjust to the zone of being chased from the backside. And how they're blocking it up front is they're basically taking a point to double team to the play side of the zone and then climb with their center in their guard and then climb and post off of that to the play side backer. Instead of Fairchild stepping left and just leaving him to Jared, they're going to double team him up to it because they're free on this side. Monroe Freeling is not even covered up here, and he should be. The only thing that I'm questioning is why is Dominic Lovett running a slam technique to the free safety? I can understand him step inside of this, but go back out and block the corner. Let the free safety be the one that's going to be chasing you instead of the corner that's going to be chasing you right here. So Monroe does a good job. I love his eyes right here. His eyes inside. He sees nothing coming. So he steps out to take care of that real wide 9 right here off the line of scrimmage. We've got everything blocked up front pretty well. I would love to see that once Jared comes off of this is a really hard block for Micah to keep off the X stunt, because for some odd reason they think because of this formation formation, we're going to run the zone back to the right, because watch what they're doing on the right side. There's that little TNT stunt right here. So we basically formation them to get them to run the TNT to the side we're not running the zone to right here, which is really good stuff. So this is an adjustment we've made. A lot of people wouldn't see something like this and do this in game. So, this gives us good play, and this is probably ETN's best run. He stays play side, which he should right here off this action. Does a good job of making one guy miss, the guy that's in the hole, and then they have to tackle it from the backside. I think this is what they're trying to do to take care of that TNT they're getting for the zone by the defense, where they're running that little X stunt with their play side to the zone. But right here, I think Micah Morris is the one that screws up this blocking scheme. And then I don't understand why you have, because Micah blocks back. Everybody else, if you'll notice, is stepping left. They got a good double team at the point of attack, which I like. But, if Jared Wilson, the way he's stepping, he's thinking he's got help from his inside from Micah. Micah steps back to his right to pin this. So if that's the case, it's either Jared or Micah screwing this up. But the way the play side is all kind of stepping with a double team post and climbing to that play side backer, if Micah Morris steps inside and gets that guy, then the other guy's going to come free because Trust is stepping out. So I don't know if we're trying to fan it on the backside and Jared screws the pooch and should have stayed on this guy that's in basically the zero technique on him, and then let Green climb off the double team up to that backer right there. But them letting him run free through the gap makes Nate have to bounce it. But also too, Nate's got to learn going full speed into this situation, and because of the fire coming from the safety, he's got to learn to put his foot in the ground and try to cut back off those three linemen right there and try to squeeze off the guy that did not get blocked. He's faster than that guy, but falling ahead for a yard is better than stretching it out right here. This is a young back trying to outrun people, and you're not going to do that in this league. Here's that safety again coming down inside. He doesn't make this tackle right here or slow him down. We might have a different play of him running outside right here. But, London Humphreys, I see him coming inside on a crack right here and ends up really not touching anybody on this play, which doesn't make any sense. Those are the kind of kill shots you want on the crack. But still, just, an inexperienced running back just going to learn to be a lot slower through the mesh point to be able to cut back right off those three guys. And that's going to be beneficial for him as he moves forward. But he'll learn you can't bounce zone. If you bounce zone, you're dead. And that's what he does right here. But still not blocked very well up front. One or two mess up, and it causes the whole thing to look bad. Now, this is a good outlet pass to Trevor Etienne, but this is a play that I'm just going to scratch my head on why Carson's not throwing it to Delp right here on the crosser under Sam over Mike. This is where we talk about him being one of the best passing quarterbacks is across the middle. His across the middle completion percentage is so high, and this is where a quarterback has to step and throw it right off the right side of the referee, right in between where the defender is right now, and throw it to Delp coming across on that dig before the safety gets there. But he's looking off of this for some odd reason. I do not know why. And this is the throws that I wish that he would have made, because up front, pass pro wise, we look really good. We've got a four-man pressure, and we're taking care of them with five. So the F-back's checked out and checked down, and everything else is covered up, because we are running what's called the flare concept out of this, where you got your H and your F are running out wide because they're the outlet off of this. So it ends up becoming a wheel by 84 Yurosek and just a check down with one. But, again, why you're not sitting there looking at throwing this ball at Delp, the great pass pro right here, is beside me. So what do you know, on the series where we need something big on 3rd and 1, and we finally figured out how to take care of their zone buster on this, and that's run away from the Y and the H. And so they can't run off the edge to chase down the zone back, and then we block it on the nub side with just a split receiver and our guard and our tackle. Jared, Micah, and Trust do a great job opening up the hole. Dylan Bell sets out and takes care of the one edge defender that we have on this side, which is the corner, and Trevor stays on his blocks right here. I would love to see, Dylan Fairchild, this is, to me, something I haven't seen out of him as much. He's letting these guys get across his face. I don't know why he's turning that way. You see his body's almost kind of turned. It should be, his right hip should be higher than his left hip right there, and that's the reason why he gets across his face. But, Trevor makes a good run right here just based off the fact of everything being blocked correctly. It almost takes it to the house with just a little shimmy. That right foot steps out of bounds. This is Yowzers by Yurosek. We're running split zone, and he's supposed to come back and take care of that screaming demon off the edge, and he doesn't even come close to hitting him. You can't play ball if you're going to do that kind of crap right there, because that guy's going to chase him up in the hole, eventually possibly make a tackle. Luckily, we do a good job of knocking off a defender that runs him into the chaser right there. But this is still Monroe Freeling have a little bit of hard luck to get his head across to the play side, just like Ernest Green was having a while ago. Everybody play side looks pretty good. Xavier stepping out, just doing what he does there. Michael Morris and Jared Wilson running their guys out. This is definitely something that you will want to probably stay play side to. If Trevor, I can tell Trevor doesn't run the zone like Nate Frazier does, because even right there you could still slow down and put your foot in the ground and still make a cut right off Monroe's butt and between. And let's say Ben Yurosek actually hits that guy and kind of knocks him off towards Carson. That's a bigger hole right here for him to step down and push in. But I see what Trevor sees right here, and I don't mind him staying play side on this. But not a bad job on zone, but still a couple people just not feeling their block. I want to call this is a nasty run play right here because of all that takes place in this. This is zone right from underneath the center, which I absolutely love. So when you're underneath center and the back is directly behind the quarterback, there's no tendencies now which way you're running the zone to. You can say it's to the strength side, but we could still run it to the left if we want to. But I love the fact that we're going to get split zone action out of this with Delp coming across. It's going to be handed off with zone action. It's a reverse out, so that changes and holds linebackers on the reverse out. Branson comes downhill to get it, and then there's also an over-the-top orbit fake jet sweep, almost like a buck sweep action right here off of this, which makes him pulls that guy. The only thing that I really hate is Delp misses his guy on the kick out over here on this side on the split zone. Everything on the backside is blocked well. Michael Morris has got to be, he's too high right there. He's got to engage that guy and take him on. He ends up blocking nobody, and that's the one that Branson has to jump, cut, and miss. But if you look at the backside, Jared Wilson, Dylan Fairchild, Monroe Freeling, great job of getting across their gaps, head across their gaps, and running their guys out, and that's what creates the crease lane for Branson Robinson to score. The other guy that's coming up to make the tackle is a cornerback who's off nobody. He's not covering the first person right here. So, again, this is just a weird play the way it's set up and how it was scored. Branson barely got across the zone. But I really love all the action out of this on play side. But honestly, Michael Morris almost screws us right here, and I hate that because I love that kid to death. I think he's a great offensive lineman. But the backside, Jared, Fairchild, and Monroe Freeling is what makes this play run for us right here. Good job of finding the zone, Branson.